I keep finding long hairs in my bathroom, which is strange, because my husband is bald, and I have a short pixie crop hairstyle. Typo. Husband is bald. This started a few weeks ago. While cleaning the bathroom I found a number of long hair strands over my bathroom wall by the shower. This struck me as very odd, because not only does my husband not have hair, I also wear a very cropped, short hairstyle. So it's impossible for the strands I found to belong to either me or my husband. Confused I washed them away, but couldn't stop thinking about it. I decided not to mention it, but kept looking out for them. There seems to be a pattern that there's hairs appearing when I'm either at work or out for a longer time period. I feel like I'm going crazy and feel like I shouldn't just immediately go to my husband cheating on me with a longer haired woman. I asked my husband about it and he just shrugged, which makes me more paranoid as surely this is something that's strange, so why is he so blasé about it? I'm starting to think he's playing it down to stop me from finding out the truth. It happened again 2 days ago, and I asked my husband again. He dismissed it, but this time admitted it's strange, but told me the only explanation is that they must be my hairs. They are not, and after saying so, now he'll just ignore me if I bring it up. I don't want to assume my husband is cheating on me and accuse him of such over something so ridiculous, but I'm driving myself into the ground trying to work out how the hairs have got there without my husband dismissing it as nothing. During lockdown we haven't had any visitors that I know of, so can rule out his sister. Update. I ultimately decided against getting a secret camera set up because ironically enough I didn't want to betray my partner's trust. Though part of me wanted to get one to squash any worries of someone living in my walls, as per some comments said. I did though plan to leave work early, which is something I've never done before. My boss allowed me to leave after a half day. Upon returning home, nothing seemed amiss. I was expecting another car on the drive, or parked outside on the street. There was no other car I didn't recognize. Quietly letting myself in, I was immediately confused. In the hallway, there was a pair of shoes I didn't recognize, and not only that, they looked like men's shoes. Standing in the hallway trying to work out what to do, if I should sneak around or make my presence known. Before I could decide, my husband walked out of the kitchen with 2 cups of tea. By my husband's face it was obvious he was surprised to see me. Playing along with Navit, I asked my husband how he could have known I was coming home early to make me tea. Expecting my husband to lie, he surprised me by sitting me down and explaining everything. At the beginning of lockdown, his friend, someone I'm not all the close with because only met once, was evicted, lost his job, and had been couch surfing. So for some days over the past couple of weeks, this guy has been traveling to our house, and with the acceptance of my husband, using our bathroom to freshen up to attend interviews. He was also borrowing shirts and suits from my husband. As it turns out, my husband's friend has long hair and a beard. So it turns out my husband isn't cheating on me, but was hiding the fact his long-haired friend was coming over to use our shower. After his shower, I ended up meeting Dave, and he turned out to be a very nice bloke just down on his luck. I wished him the best for his socially distanced interview and he went on his way. I asked my husband why he didn't just tell me, as I wouldn't have had a problem with it. Turns out he was worried about my reaction and me not liking his friend or approving of the situation. He also told me Dave was very embarrassed about the whole situation and didn't want people to know what he was having to do. I told my husband I was starting to believe he was cheating, and he was shocked, having not even considering those implications while attempting covering for his friend. I told him this whole thing was ridiculous and even suggested his friend live with us until he's back on his feet. Funnily enough, my worst case scenario which was mentioned in the replies was either a homeless man or woman living in my walls and sneakily using the shower. And though this seems to be half the case, I'm glad it wasn't a stranger as such, that wasn't unwelcome and someone that wasn't living in my walls. Thank you everyone that commented and took an interest in this. Reddit comments. It's always good when these posts have an ending that isn't cheating. Might be worth having a talk with the hubby about openness and truth, but I'm glad you guys are okay. What if all this was just a cover up for him having an affair with a man? Edit. Op. You have piqued our interest. Almost all the comments here either seem to be 1. Wow, how nice of him, glad this was the reason. Or 2. He's still lying, he's cheating on you with this man. But even if it is the first one, even if he's being a good friend to this guy, isn't this still very not cool how this went down? Particularly during COVID. If I found out my husband was sneaking somebody in during a pandemic to use our home and hiding it from me, I'd be pretty upset. Also, anytime your partner says I didn't tell you because I was afraid of your reaction, the subtext there is I didn't tell you because I wasn't sure if you'd be on board and I'd rather deceive you than risk not getting to do what I wanted to do. Whether he is doing a very generous and nice thing or not, this is a shared home, and if he was worried Op might not be comfortable with this man, then that's a reason to explore other options, not do it anyway and hide it from her. This was a big violation of their shared home and relationship. Unpopular opinion here. Some people are prone to white lies stemming from self-preservation due to past bad experience. I once had a roommate who lied constantly about things super minor and or inconsequential, but she managed to convince herself in every situation that I'd react negatively, even if she was the one affected. Example, once she quite obviously broke a glass, her own glass, and lied about the cat doing it, because she was afraid that I'd get angry / yell at her / kick her out for being clumsy. As we got to know each other better, she once broke down while talking about her past, and I divulged that during childhood, she was frequently subject to abuse from her father for making even the smallest mistake. People are odd and complex characters, and sure, it's within the realm of possibility he was cheating with you with his friend and or someone else, but I think it's equally likely that he was afraid about what your reaction would be regarding letting a stranger in and use the shower during COVID. I know I'd be livid if my fiance did that, but everyone's boundaries are different. I think he's in the wrong for not asking you, not for cheating. Unpopular opinion here. This update seems like a good ending, but it's only leaving me with more questions. You seem relieved B/C he wasn't cheating, but he still was carrying on a secret second life in your shared marital home. Your husband is either cheating on you with this man, completely terrified of you, doesn't respect you. The main reasons being the gaslighting, when he initially dismissed, then tried to convince you they must be your hairs, when he knew all along who the hairs belonged to. Is he so afraid of you that he'd rather lie than deal with the potential fallout of telling you the truth? And it wasn't just a tiny white lie, it was him actively trying to twist your thinking to sway you from the truth of another person borrowing your house. Why go through so much work? Why didn't he do a better job of cleaning up the shower when he knew you were finding the hairs? If he was afraid of being found out, he would have done so, unless he truly didn't care if you knew. But if he didn't care, then why keep the secret? To spare his friend's feelings? But you're his wife, his partner. You are a team who could have helped this man together. I don't understand how someone who is married can keep something like this from their spouse. What else could happen in your lives that your husband keeps a secret? As the person who has been down like that before, it is kind of embarrassing if you've lost everything and just want to get back on his feet as discreetly as possible. Dave might have been couch surfing, but if he needed to use their shower and bathroom, he was probably in actuality homeless and just wasn't telling Op's husband. It's respectable to try and get back up on your feet and not feel like you're bothering everyone. There's probably more to Dave's story than Op is stating or even knows about. Would you be so relieved if the out of luck friend was a woman? I doubt it. How are you certain he wasn't cheating? You expected him to lie, since he already did when he denied the first time. Maybe he did lie, but you can't see it because you're so certain he wouldn't cheat with a man. I think that's the more likely scenario. Who makes 2 cups of tea and carries them to a platonic friend who's taking shower? 2. Think about that. His friend came over to take a shower, so your husband made tea for both to take back to him, which means he was going to stay there with him to drink it together. After a shower, If you hadn't come home, what was supposed to happen? He would go back, and they'd talk about current events while he got dressed? He would have to be a very close friend if he would lie to his own wife about him. But how close could he be if you've only met him once and don't know much about him? He would lie to his wife about a friend coming over that his wife knows little to nothing about. They don't go together. He's cheating on you. Not certain, but based on what you've described, it's most likely.